Hey guys, welcome back to Coffee and Crystals. We got a special guest here today, and I'm going to wrap his introduction. In
Yeah.
a, in a world full of noise where the labels run deep, he chose to wake up, no longer asleep. From courtrooms and cages to stages with light, he turned all that pain into purpose and fight. He's been through the fire, the dark and the doubt, but choose to go inward instead of tap out. With five sacred pillars, he lays down the plan to rise, to reflect, to reclaim who I am. He teaches that growth isn't just what you see, it's the courage to say, I choose to be me. From trauma to truth, from survival to soul, Hakeem shows us healing can make us feel whole. So light up your crystals, pour up your brew, because this convo today might just shift something in you. Welcome to Coffee and Crystals, where stories unfold. And today we've got the fearless and the bold. Welcome, Hakeem.
Yo, that was the best intro I've ever had to this date. Thank you so much, Katie, for doing what you do, and thanks for having me.
Cheers to you. I'm drinking a matcha. So I know it's coffee and crystals, but I'm not rebranding, but I've become more of like a tea gal these days. What do you drink?
Shoot, I take some pre-workout. That's my caffeine intake. I've been taking pre-workout probably since 2009. And then when I did my challenge in December, I went caffeine free, no sugar, liquor, weed, porn, nicotine, caffeine, no gambling, no processed food. You just embrace your natural state, right? You reset
Okay.
your dopamine baseline. And in that challenge, when I finally stopped taking pre-workout, I noticed the difficulty for me to perform my workouts, which I do every single day without caffeine. And then that brought to my awareness the reliance and dependency of caffeine. And now people can't even wake up without coffee. You can't even go throughout the day without that energy drink in the middle of the day. But I tell you this, you break free for long enough, you can do it. You got the true dopamine, endorphin, serotonin inside, but you got to give yourself some time to grow your mind. And that's for sure. But I don't think it's bad for you in moderation, and my
Yeah.
pre-workout is literally organic, pure, all food. It's only 25 grams caffeine. It's beetroot juice, carrot juice, bunch of other roots available through
Oh,
Purium. So,
do you mind
yeah,
sharing what brand?
Purium, pure and premium.
It's
They
so
work.
funny because this organically worked out for a product for the podcast is I'm literally looking for a new pre-workout because there's so much junk out there. You know what I mean? So you have to like weed through the noise. And I really like the brand Body Health, but they don't really promote pre-workout. So
Hmm.
they don't have one. So thanks for the
Yeah,
tip.
yep. Coffee bean, coffee berry. It's called Can't Beat This. Beat spelled like the food.
Okay.
I'll
Beats
send it to
are
you.
beats are really grounding for you. So we kind of start
Mhm.
with a grounding conversation. So I'd love to hear you've got such a great story. I am writing my first book, so I know that you just published a book and we're going to Yes. Okay, good. You brought it. I love that cover.
Thank you.
Yeah, did you design that obviously yourself or what made you think to pick that cover?
Yeah, I did. Well, I worked with a designer and I kind of told her, gave her the story. So she read the book, first of all, and I told her about the mind space, heart space. I told her the choice of direction, the power of choice, which is what these two are. These are your choices. The mind is obviously as within, as without, as above, as below, in heaven and hell, all that. So in the mind as in the heart, as what you believe is what you become. And so that's what the split decision is, to be able to work with cohesion and compatibility is how we generate internal peace and awareness and intention externally. But it has to come from mind to heart. So that's what that is. You get to choose which way. That one's to me, that's the new me. And that one's to the key, which is you, the reader. And then we are one star. We're all living on one star in a heart-shaped galaxy,
Love
and
it.
we all concerned about these little ass problems. You're on a star in a galaxy of trillions of stars, in a universe of trillions of galaxies. Come on now, put some gratitude in your attitude.
I love that. I think something that ever since I've been following you on Instagram, there's been so many great nuggets that truly have been coming with me the last couple of weeks, like preparing to get to meet you. So I appreciate you. What was the turning point that you had that made you want to change your life and choose yourself?
There was a couple. There was a couple. I talk about the choose yourself process, the 5 pillars of growth that you talked
Mm.
about so eloquently in the intro. It's the first is the trigger point, then environment evaluation, then foundation, then self-investment, and then creation and contribution. So you go through the life you think it is, and then something happens that you don't expect. You label it good, bad, success, failure, whatever you label it. It just is what it is. Our labels are just something we put to provide us with comfort when something happens outside of our expectations. It's not good or bad. Somebody's worse is worse, like whatever. You can call it what you want, but you still got to get over it and get after it. So you go through that point, breaking point, immediately the very next thought moment and experience is dark place. It could be a thought. You could think, oh, what would happen if this? Dark place, anxiety. Oh, shit, I lose my health. Dark place. Oh my God, I'm dying. Or something happened to someone I love. My business shut down. My sales aren't coming in. Going dark place. Usually we go negative first, but how long does it last? It could last for a half second. You'd be like, oh shit, this could happen. But also, you can take yourself out of that immediately. And the more you train your brain to pull out of that immediately and not fester in those thoughts, you think about if you zoom out and you watch yourself floating, you're watching yourself experience the thoughts. You're not the thoughts. You're the one that chooses to think about the thoughts. Just like right now, if I say raise your arm and you don't, and I say imagine raise your arm, yeah, you imagine it and you don't, and you choose not to do it. You thought about it. You didn't choose to do it until you did this. That was the difference, is the thought and the choice. So breaking point, first one. Little brother died when I was 16. He was 6 from leukemia. That breaking point put me into a safe shell of armor, and it was I'm fine. And so I went directly from the hospital room. I pulled the plug on my brother, went down into the team van, went and played a basketball game immediately. So then since that, I didn't deal with anger, grief, rebellion. I didn't deal with none of that or process any of my emotions to stay strong, because it's the masculine thing to do. Don't freaking show your emotions, because especially if you're an athlete and you're really good, don't be soft, because football players are not soft. So I went basketball and I just buried it, right? That was the first breaking point. But what life will show you, that whatever you run from is going to reflect in your life, and you won't even know it. Whatever you hide in the dark is going to show up in the light every single time. It's what you do for yourself, by yourself, that allows you to attract and live the life that you want or don't want. But if you don't become aware of the subconscious programming, you'll always be living in the chapters that you don't want to face. So sports, and then through that, anger and fear controlled my life. So I went D1 full ride, got angry at my team and coaches, I left. I went D2, that was another breaking point, and then I went D2. Well, this is when I started drinking in college. So that actually broke the safe.
Where did you go to college?
I went to NDSU, full ride.
Okay.
And then I went to Winona in Minnesota, small white town, which is important to a part of this story. And I went to Winona, first game, tore my ACL. So I'm running, fear, I'm getting hurt. Universe is like, slow down, pay attention to your grief, pay attention to your trauma.
I was going to say, not to interrupt you, but I'm a yoga instructor. I have 500 hours of yoga teacher training. And in one of my trainings, we talked about just injuries and how the different injuries that show up in different people's body. Everything you're saying is living in fear, living in the past, holding on to the past, and then you get a serious knee injury. But
yeah, that was the ACL. Then I got into a fight at a house party, hit a white man in a white town, and they gave me first-degree felony assault, 20 years probation with 86 months over my head. My first crime ever. I was on crutches. The victim didn't press charges. The state did. And so for that year, I got kicked out of school and I went back home. Had 4 more knee surgeries, trying to train and play basketball and doing security, bartending, messing around the streets, partying, black market, blacking out. That's why I call it my dark days, because I was blacking out in the black market. And eventually I got to another breaking point in that industry, in that lifestyle, where I was like, okay, this ain't for me. This is not for me. That was scary. I almost died that night. So I was like, okay, where can I go back to school? I couldn't go to universities because I had a felon. So I had to go to a private school. I went to Augsburg College. They let me in, had talked to freaking coaches, and then that was my chance. What I thought was to redeem myself and still go to the NFL. Now, I never thought I was going to quit sports, and the sports thought of making it to the NFL was what kept my armor on from the grief, because that's exactly what I did right after he died. So if I could always have that dream, I never have to face it. Now, after I got All-American and, had all these accolades, broke all the records, I wasn't prepared. My knees weren't prepared. My mind, my body, my training wasn't prepared for playing professional ball. I went to a team, made the team. My PO was like, "You can't play." I was like, all right, well, there goes my football dreams. And that was the safe that got cracked open. Then I broke my ankle and I was like, okay, shit, lost my identity. Dark place, about 18 months, super hazy from college until I went to jail 8 months, got out for 30 days, went back to jail for 8 months. And in that second 8 months, that was the breaking point. That was the final breaking point. Sometimes it takes 17, 18, 20, 70 breaking points. It takes you saying, I'm going to quit smoking 150 times before you do, but you can't give up. You have to keep saying it with intention. And that first 8 days and that second 8 months, the first day I was going through withdrawals, which is what a lot of us do when we go through a transition. The second day, you're going through blaming, complaining, victims. It was them. It was their fault. The judge, the lawyer, my dad, my brother, my niece. The third day, you're looking for where can I fit in? So I'm in jail just screaming with the gangbangers. Hey, fuck this, man. Let me out. Oh, my mama. I'm from the block. Ooh, after like 4 hours of that, I was like, ow, my head, my throat, my lips. How do y'all do this all day? I've been hearing y'all all night. What the hell? I'm like, okay, I don't belong in the streets. I can't play football. I don't belong definitely not on the block or in this damn cell. And that's when I was like, my girl left me in jail. My dad wasn't bailing me out. My uncle said, I can't bail you out no more. I had gone in and out of jail like 6, 7 times throughout this time frame. And then I was like, fuck, okay, just me. Well, damn it, got to choose myself. And that's the trigger point for me. When ain't nobody coming for your ass, not your guy, not your mom, not your girl, not the touchdowns, not nobody. Ain't nobody coming to save you if you can't save yourself. Because you got to grab the life jacket. They're not going to come down underwater and come get you. You got to get to the surface first, and then the helicopter comes. So in that moment is when I started doing 25 push-ups, 25 sit-ups every 15 minutes to keep my mind on the present and stop complaining. So I put myself in discomfort, which is what you do when you try new things, new language, new city, new experiences with new people, and you exercise, fast, cold shower, lifting heavy weights. These things are discomfort that make you focus on right now. So
we call it dukkha in Sanskrit, or dukkha in Sanskrit. That's what it's called, is like putting yourself in uncomfortable positions, yoga positions, healthy, uncomfortable situations so that you can properly heal.
Yeah, prepare that muscle, because next time when the external world puts you in something uncomfortable, have you done the practice? Have you prepared that muscle? It's literally a mind muscle to be like, oh shit, I'm uncomfortable. Switch it. It's the dorsal cortex, which is a part of the anterior cingulate cortex that gets stronger when you do things you don't want to do. And that was on a podcast of Andrew Huberman and David Goggins, two of the people I listen to a lot. Yeah, so they talk about the anterior cingulate cortex and how to strengthen it. But that was it, man. Couple breaking points. And even like, when I got to a breaking point and still climbed out, got my degree, got All-American, I still hadn't made it out of the dark. And I think that's what a lot of people get deceived by, is when stuff, just because you made out of your dark place and you're getting all this money, that's fine. But if you're creating things without the healing, you're creating something that's subject to change, because you're chasing external possessions, achievements, looks, money, status, just to try to put a mask on whatever it is. I was chasing touchdowns. Some people chase money. Some people chase pussy. Some people chase gambling. Some people chase all this external stuff, but that stuff's always going to change. So if you come from a truth, you can adapt your truth to the environment, but you can't develop your truth from the environment. And that's really what I learned, man. Choose yourself to be chosen.
Yeah. So the jail. So I feel like I never met my dad because he was put into prison when I was really young. And I feel like I was always embarrassed to tell anyone about that. So for many reasons, right? But just in general, just like when people hear that. So did you have to hide from that story at all from people, or was that something that you couldn't really hide from? When you meet people and they knew that you were in jail, was that something that you had to kind of just own and choose yourself as well?
Yeah, well, I was a felon at 19. So housing, getting a job, getting into schools, getting loans, credit, girls don't want to hear that shit. You a felon already? You 20. Like, so I just wasn't telling nobody, I'm like, because if the more I were to tell people, the more it projects out a version who I'm not, because of one punch. Now everything they perceive about a felon flushes through their head and puts it on me. And now it's restricting me from being able to grow, because now I respond like a felon because I'm being treated like a felon because I said I'm a felon. And that's another reason why you can't call yourself stupid or broke or fat or ugly, because people gonna think that too. And so I had to really I just numbed it, partying. Oh, I mean, when I had football, I didn't have to think about it because I was on a team. I'm scoring touchdowns. Doesn't matter if I'm a felon. Look, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then when that stuff is gone, when your money's gone, when your damn health is gone, then like you can't put up a facade no more. You can't. When your health catches up to you and you got all these aesthetic surgeries and external big nice brand clothes and nice house, like eventually that's the mask is ripped off. But I think the most important part of our journey is that we have to develop a buffer between that experience to where we're comfortable enough to talk about it so that we have proof that we're somebody else. And that's what it took me to write this book, was I had to start building something else to be like, damn, that was a different version. But if it just happened recently or you haven't done the healing, you're going to still feel like, I can't talk about that because it's still me.
It doesn't matter what other people think, because it comes down to choosing yourself. Like if you're still blocked by it, then how are you going to get other people to really hear you?
Yeah. And
what do you say? You said, you can design yourself, but you got to align.
Hey,
you say it better.
Yeah, no, well, you can design your life, but you got to make sure the mind is refined.
Okay, I like that. You have so many like good nuggets. I'm like, do you like to rap, or do you just like to rhyme, or is that just poem?
Both. It helps me remember. It helps other people remember, as you can tell. It's just like those acronyms. I've done those my whole life, though. Riddles, acronyms, poems. That's how I would remember tests and these note cards, like in college and my presentations. It always have like a rhythm or acronym. I'd have like 20 acronyms to remember a slogan or something. So my brain has been working like that. But content really helped me start to talk about my story. You know, it
Okay.
really helped me. And that's why I created the CYC. It's based off of the integrity loop that I developed from content. Because the more I would disclose a little bit about who I wanted to be, like if I was partying Thursday to Sunday and then Monday to Wednesday, I'm doing motivational content, talking about wake up, be healthy. Eventually that shit would be shaking my soul all weekend. So then I'd take a day off. I'd take a day off of partying and go sleep early. And then eventually I transitioned in 18 months into, you know, who I was talking about 18 months ago. And so there's a fine line between faking it to make it and making a claim so that your subconscious mind believes it. You know, faking it is without intention to grow. You just say it, and that's what sticks up there, and you don't have to do anything in the dark to become that version because you put up the facade so well. But if you're making a claim, like I work out 4 times a week and you just started last month, that's still fine as long as you keep doing 4 times a week. You can keep saying it, and live up to your word. And so when I was saying stuff online, I was doing stuff that I was saying stuff online that I wasn't quite doing yet offline, but then my integrity kicked in over time, and now I do it every time. So that's what helped me release. Because when you say parts of your story, people will be like, "Oh, I agree. Oh, that aligns. Good job. Oh, we support." And I'm like, "Damn, that's not the response I thought. I thought everybody was gonna fucking start talking shit because that's what the mind does. That's what the ego does. Don't tell them. It's gonna mess up that image that you put up. Don't say anything. You already worked so hard to put up this facade. Don't say anything. Your truth is gonna come. It's gonna be uncomfortable. We don't like uncomfortable."
Yeah.
So little by little, I started talking, and that also happened with my liquor company. When I started Choose Yourself, I didn't want to start talking about liquor.
So you have a liquor company.
Yeah.
I didn't catch
Yep.
that. Okay, but you
Yeah.
don't drink.
I drink. Yeah. 80%
so
healthy, 20%
80%
fun.
healthy. Okay.
Yeah,
I guess
come
that
on
would
now.
be me. That would be me. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
starting to, I really struggled with that for a long time because I was definitely a party girl in college. I went to Florida State, and like that really, those habits in the party spectrum really continued after college. And it was like a whole facade that I really had to cut off from people because they just assumed that even though I was teaching a yoga class, that I was going to go to a boozy brunch afterwards. So I can kind of relate to what you're saying is you do have to set patterns for yourself first so people can start seeing you in a different way.
Yeah. And break free first. You know, if you haven't gone a weekend without drinking in a year, you need to go 30 days without it. If you haven't gone without sugar for, you know, 3-4 months straight, you need a piece of candy. You need something. You need to break free. If you wake up and hit the vape before you brush your teeth, first of all, ew. Second of all, you just suck it down, old spit down your damn to your damn lungs, along with nicotine and battery acid and rat piss, probably. Or is that cigarettes? I don't know, but
I don't know. I'm not a vapor or a cigarette. I do smoke weed, which I think that's probably something that I'm thinking
I'm an
I
advocate.
should give up, but yeah, I'm like an advocate. Like it helps me so much, but sometimes I'm like, am I addicted to weed?
Well, that's why I do the challenges. I did 3 challenges: 30 days of no sugar, liquor, weed, porn, no masturbating for men. Women is different, right? For men,
Why is it different?
because
Well,
women's power is
you're
in the womb, and they have another level of sexual confidence and energy if they can connect and climax on their own. Man, it's just quick. I chase, oh, I explode. That's just what men do. I chase new pussy, oh, I explode. A football game, go, touchdown. Oh, I want to freaking build this. I got this. I want to build some more. That's just what the masculine
your second brain.
more. Yeah, that's just how men are. But if you can hold that power in, you move differently because you're not seeking from a sexual desire, but you have the power to impact a feminine energy or even a masculine because you are able to live in your truth and your full power. And there's a book called The Way of a Superior Man that really talks about that ability to maintain your focus without having to rely on the quick release. And that's the same thing with sugar. That's quick, instant. Anything instant is gone during the challenge. Sugar, liquor, weed, porn, nicotine, caffeine, no processed foods, no deep fried foods. And then you fast for 1 day a week. You do that for 30 days and you're cravings dissipate, your urges dissipate. The first 5 days suck, but we have a group chat where we tap in and everybody shares the response. We have reflective questions, and I've seen people quit nicotine that they haven't quit in years. People smoke weed. All kind of people quit just for making a claim to someone else. And so, like being able to break free, then you find your balance. Then it's 80% healthy, 20. But you got to exercise, you got to sleep right, you got to do gut cleanses, you got to hydrate, you got to grow your mind, have good conversations, don't watch bullshit, filter your feed. You got to do all these things to prepare for when you do indulge in toxins. When you do hit that blunt, that now you have something worth recovering, worth going back to, so you don't stay in that stuck mindset because you appreciate the life you had up until the celebration, but also you've implemented the systems and habituality to where when you wake up, you get right back to it. I'm rating the sauna, cold shower, gym, stretch because I do that every day. It's already part of me. Then I find my balance. So I know next week I got my book launch party in Minnesota on Saturday. I'm gonna go I'm going a couple podcasts Thursday, do a speech on Friday at a sober community. Saturday, do the book launch. 7:00, give my speech. After that, we outside. We're getting bottles at the club, but not until then.
Yeah, you
Not
gotta get your
until then.
stuff done.
So,
Yeah.
so it's about the balance, man. And I'm an advocate for weed because my best friend got a stutter, and every time he hit the weed, he don't stutter.
Really?
Every time he'll wake up like, whoa, 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 whoa. What you doing today? I said, what the hell? Damn, that was fast.
I mean, yeah, this could obviously be like a whole podcast, but it's like I have friends that they'll be like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to hit that. And then I'm like, no, please don't hit that because they act weird.
Right.
But I'm the type of person that like could record a podcast, do a speech, like people wouldn't even know. Unfortunately, I could work out. Like it doesn't affect me like that. But I think that it's like for some people, it's clearing a stuttering. I mean, they give it to cancer patients as well.
Right. And my dad, he's been a sober community facilitator for his 14 years of his sobriety. Shout out Big Greg and New Heights Sobriety in Minneapolis. Long list of people who want to get in, but he says like my uncle was the CEO and founder of the liquor company.
Okay.
So I've been
What's the name?
Revel Spirits.
Okay. Maybe I should have it for my 40th birthday party in New York this summer.
What? Yeah.
Well, Serena will be there. So maybe if you're available, you'll swing through too.
No, I am. Tell me the date. I'm blocking off right now.
July 8th.
Yep, I'm here. I'm here. Yep, I go out of town once a month for vacation because I work 28 days straight. I work during the week, and then the weekends I still bartend Saturday, Sundays, and then once a month I go on vacation for 5 days. So that's my balance. Some people take 2 days off on the weekend. Well, home, and then DR June.
Nice.
And then Atlantic City for the 4th of July.
Okay. Kind of random. I get 4th of July. That makes sense.
Yeah. No, I'm big on shows and fancy food and like Vegas style. Like Vegas is one of my favorite cities at 20% fun. But my dad says it. He's like, yo, like Micah owns a liquor company. That's my closest brother of 13. It's actually my godfather. I cannot drink. Micah can. I can't. That's just the difference. There's a difference. Some people can drink, some people can smoke, some people can't. Some people can freaking, tap into themselves and face their story, and some people can't. And that's the balance of the universe. And we need people who neglect themselves to show us how important it is to choose ourselves.
Honestly, that was the type of leader I feel like I was for years. Looking back, I can say that now, but I was always very successful, led high performing teams as a regional manager. But looking back, I think one of my biggest lessons to my team is like, a lot of what not to do, but a lot of people who are like 20 years younger than me that were led by me, have launched into positions that I had like way before me. So I feel like you're welcome for being a hot mess, everyone, because that was part of the lesson. Yeah,
that's why I put my story in my book for real, because I think that finding the parallels in everybody's journey is what allows us to push through and take risks. And that's why you gotta listen to these conversations, podcasts. You gotta go research certain people, even if you love a celebrity, you love Taylor Swift or LeBron. I love LeBron, but I know his story. I love him because of his story, not so much how much he be flopping and complaining and all, but who he is as a person.
I was like, does LeBron complain?
He sends 2,500 people to college every year from the Strive for Greatness High School. Gives them all a pair of shoes. Come on now, people like that.
Amazing.
It's the people like that. But, if you research the people you look up to, if you look up to them for a certain song or they're artists, look into their story as well. Because if you already like them and what they create, it came from something. So look at how they connected their struggles to something you appreciate. It might help you do the same to embrace your story and then find your passion, educate, find inspiration, and then create and contribute, which is the 5th step and the 5th pillar.
Yeah, I love that you're bringing up the pillars so organically. But what do you do do you ever have to give advice to people who are ashamed of themselves? And what does that usually look like to get them into the program?
Yeah, see, setting the example is about, I'm not going to convince anybody. I'm not going to freaking beg you to choose yourself. All right. I'm going to set the example. I'm going to create conversations. I'm going to create content. I'm going to create resources and testimonials at such a high rate and high clip that one of these are going to stick, and it's going to be the one that triggers you. There's 4 ways you can really trigger yourself into choosing yourself. And one is your health, where you're suffering, your health is suffering, your family's health is suffering. You have to be healthy. A loss, job, life, them, or you got a major transition of something. You go to a new city, you got to transition to a new position, or inspiration, which is what I try to provide. You go to a ceremony, you go to a retreat, you see a book, you read a book or something. You're like, oh my gosh, shit, I have to choose myself. That's what I'm trying to provide. Now, if people have a disbelief in themselves, I tell them there's three things I usually try to say. One, reach out to three of your closest people and ask them what they love about you. Two, start to positively reflect on your day. It is going to shift your mind into a positive mindset. I did that for about 6 months, and now negative thoughts don't even come up because I've shifted to gratitude.
Gratitude is, I think, one of the most important spiritual lessons. The most. And for some reason, it's so hard for everyone. And I get it, because it's not like I always sat down and spent time in my ritual of gratitude. But everyone listening, it's almost like the most attainable, most healing, most productive action type ritual you could add into your life is a gratitude practice.
Yeah, man. Everybody's worst is worse until you put your worst first. And it could be worse until it become immersed to a point where it can't be reversed. What happened to that verse you rehearsed in your church? Where'd the faith go? You want to praise God when the sun is out, but when the storm is here trying to water the flowers, you want to get mad. Come on now, the seed ain't gonna grow without the wet, dark loneliness. Caterpillar, only one caterpillar per cocoon. You can't bring nobody with you in that transitional stage, y'all. But yeah, the positive reflections, ask people around you what they like about themselves, and then write your story. This is an important part we're doing in the CYC, the Choose Yourself community. We meet every week on Tuesday, where you got to write your story down. Take 5 parts of your life. It doesn't have to be age. You could have 2 parts of it. Could be in high school, whatever. 5 parts. Take the victim story that you created from that you've been living in, which is one of the hardest things to do, is to find out that the truth you think about that chapter is the victim. Usually our very first belief about, oh my God, somebody died. Oh my God, somebody left me. Oh my God, they abused me. It's like, I blame them. When it's like, I have the power to shift my focus to what did I gain? And the gain can be the knowledge of knowing what not to invest into. So if you had a shitty partner, be grateful. You can know everything about what not to, but you got to be aware. Otherwise,
you got to learn from it.
Shit. If you blame them, you're going to attract them again. You take accountability, then you can identify what you don't want. Now you can reevaluate from a new self-belief. But if you think your self-belief is it was their fault, I'm the victim, well, guess what you're going to attract? More people to make you the victim. So until you choose yourself, you can't change shit. That's write your story, positive reflections at the end of the day, 10 things positive about the day or that you were proud of. And then also ask people around you, what's your favorite thing about you?
I love that you said that, because one time when I was feeling really down, and I couldn't think of inspiration for a podcast, I literally casted some of my best friends and my sister to just tell me how great I was on the show. So I intuitively, I guess, knew that that's what I needed. But then afterwards, I just remember being like, I don't think I even ended up posting the show, but I was like, thanks guys, I can go on with my life now. But sometimes you do. And the people you choose and surround yourself with is a big part of how you can show up in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Those people ain't going to change until you change your belief about yourself. Because that's where the detachment comes in. You outgrow old people, old places, old things, and then you're too grown for your old friends, not grown enough for your new friends. And so there's a point where, do you want to go back to comfort and convenience and be in that version that makes them comfortable and you comfortable? Or do you want to go on this journey, not relapse into the old connectivity, not relapse into the old environments, and then eventually attract your new partner or your new business partner or your new opportunity, or you start shopping in the grocery aisle differently, or you start budgeting differently, you start buying supplements instead of freaking snacks and jewelry. Your shit starts changing. And then when you move like that with the self-investment, then you literally raise your frequency and vibration. So you vibrate at a different level. And now people around you are also like that, but then you got to get to know them. And that's the importance of having conversations with others, because when you meet somebody, as you grow, as you meet people, when you talk, you see what you feel about yourself, because you're letting out only the parts that you want to embrace. So when you start telling someone and you leave the old shit behind, it's reconfirming in your mind that you're actually making that transition. But if you grow on your own, then sometimes we get those thoughts mixed up, the bad and the good. But when you tell someone, when you go, hey, my name is, if I want to be a fitness guy, or if I want to be wealthy, or if I want to be smart, I have to lead and talk like that on my first interaction, on the first impression. And so what does that look like? And then you get repetition, and you get repetition. And then just like content, you say something, and now you got to go do the shit because you care. And that person is not going to hold nothing against you because they don't have a preconception of your old version. So you have a blank slate. You're going to fuck it up and go back. What you going to do? Recreate the life you had? Or if you try to tell the people from your past, people from your past, the ones you outgrew, they're not going to believe you until the strangers start clapping. And even your friends that are in your circle who have been with you through the transition, there's still a little hesitancy of the history of perception where it's like, yeah, no, I believe him. Yeah, go. But damn, I remember he was fucking up. Man, I remember that. Shit, I hope he don't fuck up again because I really believe in him. But they always got to deal with that. The new people, you can be whoever you want as long as you back it up. But there's a big there's a big risk with that in the new people, because if the old people know you through your growth transitions and your self-belief and you fuck up, they're gonna be like, well, he fucked up before and he came back, like, I'll give him another chance, maybe, or it might be your last chance. But with the new people, you don't have any proof, you don't have any history. So if you say, I'm not a smoker, then they catch you smoking, all of a sudden, whatever you say after that, you're screwed.
Yeah, you
So
lost
you
them.
can fake the interview, but can't stop yourself from getting fired.
Exactly. Which I had like a whole fired era as well. I was like, I just felt like I kept getting fired, but looking at my behaviors and how I was showing up, I'd fire myself too.
Damn, I know. Same. When I was bartending, I had a bunch of different bartending jobs in that dark place as well, and I was blaming everybody but myself.
Yeah, exactly. So something that I am really working on in my life right now is bigger than me, and I'm really trying to to the generational cycles in my family. There's been some clear traumas that from generation to generation, I'm like, enough. So it's like,
Yep.
I think I'm part of the movement. I call myself the talent manager of the Chronister family, but I think it's probably the younger generation that's really going to make the impact. But I really feel like in my family, like I am taking the charge to like lead this movement. And one of our biggest blocks is the women in our family have always been really hardworking, taking care of the tribe, but it's always been like this financial block. But then when I listen to my aunt, or, I guess we'll be careful with names, but when I listen to some of my family members, and just the way they speak about it, I think is like the number one action point that I could start with is just like the power of communication, how we're talking about things. And that's like something that I know in your book, you talk about generational cycles. So what can you say about this? What advice can you give me?
Genetics may load the gun, but our choice is pull the trigger. So you have to know about where you came from. I knew my parents were addicts, and both of my siblings on my dad's side went through it as well. And I stayed in my sober state after my little brother passed. But when I started to put myself in parties, I started to resemble more of that genetic disease, addiction, alcoholism, because I started to indulge in it. Now, it's going to be in there. Fine. Diabetes type 2 might be in your blood, but then you should be mindful all day. Don't wait till the doctor says, hey, you're a freaking alcoholic. Hey, you have high blood pressure now. No, if you know about what comes from your generation, and this goes back to ancestral bloodline. I'm half Jamaican, half German. So there's a balance of oneness and love and connectivity to the planet and soil and soul. And then you have the German, which is like structure, bend, don't break. And then we know what else comes with that shit as well from the past in the German bloodline. But it's a beautiful mix for me to be mixed, to see both sides. And I think the more we learn about our genetics and our upbringing of our parents, the better we can understand how we were brought up. And then the better we can then influence the next generation.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like you seem to master boundaries. You're really good at like setting boundaries and very disciplined. How do you do with people who come to challenge you at that? Or is that something in your life right now that doesn't seem to phase you? So, or if that doesn't bother you, what about a time where it did, when people were like really pushing your boundaries and you were kind of like falling off alignment?
Yeah. So boundaries are important. And first of all, boundaries only keep out the people you don't want, but they show the people that you want, that you attract, that you align with, where to stand with you. So without the boundaries, nobody knows how to support you. With the boundaries, people can help you and reach out specifically to certain variables and areas. So that's the flip in the mindset of boundaries. It's not, my friends think I'm too strict because I go home early. Oh, my mom thinks I'm too strict or I'm too free spending with my money, or some inner child trauma thinks that it's more about 3 levels of your boundaries. And I talk about in the book, the inner circle, the transitional circle, and the outer circle. The inner circle is what you cannot negotiate from. Your time, energy, routines, your morals. That's what does not change. But you have to find out what those are first. And if you're waiting for other people to tell you, you'll never find those. And that's the reverse. So you can go 3-circle reverse, or you can go the 3-circle from in to out. And those are the 3 on the inner circle. The transitional circle is your negotiables, right? Like, I go to the gym 7 days a week, but when I travel, I don't on travel day. Or 80% of the time I eat healthy, 20% I freaking will celebrate. Those are negotiable. So there's a flexibility in your commitments. And it's really about, I can put my time into Netflix, or I can put my time into my business. But what's the balance of that? So are you 80% Netflix and 20% business? Well, that's not how you are really, contributing. And then the outside circle is just what you like to do.
It's so funny that you use that as an example because I literally feel like recently I've been gifting myself Netflix because I'm having FOMO in all these conversations where like everyone's like, oh, this show,
Yeah.
or what's the one that I still haven't seen that's like the White Lotus. Everyone's talking about White Lotus. I'm like, I'm too busy like writing podcast scripts or like doing my business. I was like, honestly, Katie, maybe you should live a little and watch a Netflix show. It was last night. I was like, I'm gonna chill. I got Hakeem in the morning. I was watching Temptation Island, like such trash, but I mean, I watched it for way too late last night.
No, I think getting in that imaginative, creative state too, movies and fiction and like that stuff helps too, like bend our reality, and that's magic, all those things. So I know that's important as well, but in moderation. But I have, and then so you start with your values, and then you start with how you manage your distribution of time, energy, resources, and how you implement your core values and morals. And then the outside is, okay, what do I have left? What do I want to do? Some people do what they want to do first and then share their time and energy, and then they try to develop their inner. And that's the friction. You got to start with your why and go out. And Simon Sinek talks about this in business. You start with your why and go out to the contribution. You don't start with who do I contribute to and then try to develop your why from who you contribute to when you're trying to contribute to the world.
Yeah.
You got to find out what your shit is to be able to give it, to put it out. But I started with the curfew and kick out time. This is the foundation. These are the
curfew.
Well, it depends. It's flexible.
Okay.
It's flexible. Like Friday, I was out. My curfew was 1 a.m.
Okay.
And my wake up time was 8 a.m. But I had an event that I sponsored till midnight, and I had a curfew, right? And so during the week, usually I'm 8 o'clock. I'm in my bed, in my crib, in bed by 8:30, up by 3 a.m. That's one foundation. Or I'm in bed by 10, up by 4. Or I'm in bed by 12, up by 6. Or I'm in bed by 2.
Why are you getting up so early? Your gym workouts, you're like done at 5. I'm like, okay, what would Hakeem do? But why are you getting up so early?
Well, I divide my day into 3.
Okay.
So 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. is choosing myself, mind, body, spirit, content creation, clean, nutrition, get active, wake up in the energy field when everybody's asleep, and tap into the abundance of energy that no one's using right now. And you literally can be on and you can't be distracted.
I so resonate with that. Thank you for saying that. That could change my life. Go on.
I'm like, because you can't even check your phone or email right now because don't nobody want to hear from you. So
right. They'll be like, what is going on? Yeah. I love that.
Focus on yourself. You can't even check email. What's the point? So you freaking then at 8 o'clock, I either go to Trader Joe's at 8, or I have my CYC meetings at 10 a.m. Tuesday, or my podcast recording 10 a.m. Thursdays, and my haircuts at 9 a.m. Wednesdays. So those are my starting times in my day. But between like 7:30 when I finish my workout and that appointment is I get home and I reset my environment, clean, cook, nutrients. And then between 10 and 1, I do my virtual meetings, my coaching calls. I do any type of business creation. Like I have to create a PowerPoint tomorrow because I'm giving a speech at the Sober Community Thursday. So I have a buffer. 10 to 1 is when I create business, prep, evaluate my sales in the market for my liquor company, evaluate my coaching clients, evaluate my business, my finances. So I keep that window open, and it's flexible, right? Sometimes I don't get there till 11. Sometimes it's only 1 hour. Sometimes it's 3, but you got to know your capacity. And then I go in the streets from 1 to 6 with liquor in my bag and manage hundreds of accounts.
Is that what's in your backpack when you're walking around New York City?
Not in the morning. That's actually workout stuff. But I got another bigger backpack that's for liquor. So now it's like I chose myself, set my foundation, I got in alignment, and then I got into the buffer of creation and organization. And then I go out and I get to engage with people and keep my head on the swivel and explore New York City. So there's 3 components, and each one is dedicated to a certain type of purpose and drive, but they're all compartmentalized so that I don't get burnt out. There's buffers. There's time for rejuvenation. There's times for hour phone call with my mom. There's time to check in with my people. It's all in there, And so waking up early allows me to have more of a flow instead of, shit, I got to work. I got to do. Oh, damn, I have no time. I got to get here. Wake up earlier. Is what you're doing after 8 more important than what you could be doing waking up an hour earlier?
No, because you could do that in the morning. Yeah,
it never is. Yeah. Till the sun goes down, it's like we're bushing.
Yeah, that's reflection time. Yeah, it should be quiet time. So I talk about the dark night of the soul a lot. Have you heard of that phrase?
No,
I mean, you talk about it, but the dark night of the soul, the idea is that everybody has darkness in their life. And some people have 3 or 4 dark nights. Mm-hmm. Some people can only resonate to like 1 or 2, but we all have them. We're not going to just go through and not have tragic things happen in our life. So I feel like part of the dark night of the soul for you would probably be a lot of behind bars. What were some of the darkest moments for you sitting in there?
Well, there was one time, it's a funny story. It wasn't a dark moment, but it was like an ego slash like pride thing when like I didn't really talk to people. So I'm big. There was probably like 5 dudes bigger than me in there. So people kind of respected me. I was to myself. I didn't walk like a gang. I was working out. I was doing push-ups and stretching all the time. So people were like, he's fit.
Yeah.
But I got to go to work during the days. So then you wake up in jail, go work, come back, sleep in jail. And then you got to stay in there for 2 days a week straight with people. And there's people in there who don't go to work. So you're in jail. You just get to go to work. Right. And so one day, I was at the lunchroom and this dude was talking shit to everybody. I'll hoop you. And he pointed at me. I was like, oh shit. Here I go. I gotta request off work so I can stay in here and go to rec and bust his ass. So that's what I did. That's what I did. I took a day off of work so I could stay in jail because I always worked on rec days. So I could stay in jail and play this motherfucker. I went outside, played him, had glasses on, took them off, couldn't see, hooped him. I'm throwing them and everything. Yeah, I won. We won. Everybody's calling me Blake Griffin and LeBron James and shit. I was like, oh, damn. Yeah, y'all definitely been in here too long. I can watch some more basketball. I don't play like them. But then he started getting all crazy and wild. Oh, when I see you on the outside, all this, man, on the block, man, I'll run this. I'm like, damn. See, what did I get myself into? Why did I stay in here? And sure enough, but 18 months later, I saw him on the outside. Except I was bartending and he was a homeless bum asking for water.
Yeah. Gotcha.
He came into my bar like, hey, remember me? I'm like, knock your ass out.
Get out of here.
Your ass out of my bar. Boy, you can't even get no water.
I feel like the system of jail, it's like, I mean, I've never been to jail, but I've helped a lot of friends get out of jail. And I've had a lot of stories of people who've been in there. It seems kind of messed up. Like I understand, I guess, why we need the system, but there's so many things that I feel like it doesn't feel humane, but I guess that's the system set up to treat everyone in there that they're not human.
They're trying to change that. Yeah, they're trying to change that.
Okay, that's
good.
Like,
the food. They're trying to change the food in there. They talk about the food impact on crime. They talk about, food's impact on kids learning and ADHD and like the school food and stuff. So they're trying to change it. But yeah, the food's trash.
That's the biggest thing.
There's no medical awareness, attention. Like if you say I'm sick, I'm this. Like just wait until we get time. Like there's no urgency. If you have like a serious issue where you have a seizure or you freaking pass out, they put you in 72-hour lockdown on camera. So it's not like you get to sit in a stretcher bed or nothing. But yeah, I don't know, man. Obviously, those things aren't made to help you.
Not like a retreat.
Yeah.
Like a yoga retreat. It's not your Costa Rica retreat.
It's not the Costa Rica retreat.
Tell me about that. How many spots are left?
11 spots left. We're going to transport the body, transform the mind. We're going hot spring, spa day, horseback riding, going to a waterfall. You can also do zip lining. We got all the food included, lodging included, and then we're doing 2 workshops.
Of that. I love retreats for the food.
Yeah, exactly. No, especially if you come from America.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, one workshop will be releasing guilt, shame, and envisioning your future life. And the other workshop will be what I specialize in, time management, setting the foundation and putting the systems in place to be able to acquire, but also then maintain the life that you envision. So that's how we work together. My co-host AF, also the co-host of my podcast, doing this thing, man. One of many. Costa Rica.
I love it. I'll put information in the show notes.
Thanks.
So the spiritual podcast, we talk a lot about purpose. How would you describe your purpose to my listeners? Mastery
of the mind. Now, I get it. Mastery of the mind and understanding of self. That is everybody's purpose. It can't be nothing else. Once you go understand your mind and you start to identify your true identity, that's purpose. What's beneath your mind and your true identity is what you were created to be. It's what we were born into this world to be. What the stars, the choices, the DNA, our creator, the universe, nature, boom, birth is here. And then all of a sudden you get a name, language, you go to school, you got to live here. You might be broke, you might be this. And then all these conditionings, these labels, they condition you and structure you. And now you're this person. And then eventually we all get to a point where we're like, I know you had it. You're like, this is not me. I am not that. I'm not doing this damn societal construct. A lot of people who are spiritual leaders or healers or in the fitness, kind of industry and mindset think of that. But you can't go without going within. Your purpose is not going to be found without embracing your story and embracing what has happened to you. You can research all you want. You can regurgitate all you want. But when shit hits the fan under love, excitement, discomfort, Under pressure, it's going to be what you really feel and do for yourself when you by yourself. And our purpose is developed from aligning what we do in the dark to what happens in our life. How close are those aligned? And once we can connect those, I think is when we live in our purpose, because we do what we want in the dark. Literally, we have to battle ourselves. And if you're skipping the snooze, eating bullshit, spending outside your budget, beating your dick too much, playing the game too much, if you're doing that, well, your mind starts to understand that you don't really take your life serious and you're not really searching in there. You're passing time, convenience, comfort, energy conservation, easy way out, Ozempic, ibuprofen, lips, ass. You're doing the quick way. That's what you do? Okay, well, that's not what you were created to come here to do. Now, that breaking free component is another way you identify your purpose, because then under pressure and adversity, you really see what you're really about. Are you about that life, or you need a shot before you go to this big meeting? You got to hit the joint before you hang out with people. You need coffee before you can go on the Zoom. Or can you really be productive? Matcha. Or can you really be productive and grateful without anything? That's your purpose. How you experience life in your natural state is what we're meant to do. Everything else will block us, including limiting beliefs, including, fear of judgments. The purpose, find from something that you would do for free for the rest of your life, that you even do now, your hobby, you do for free. Find the growth in your story. Those two will then create your gift. You identify your gift from what you do for free and the things you've gone through. And it might take talking to a therapist. It might take research, and it might take having conversations to connect those two, because there's so much in the way. And then how you contributed to others is the purpose. But you got to take your passion with your story, find your gift, and then give it back. That's what I feel purpose is.
I always say this podcast is going to change my life. I love having conversations like this. That was very powerful.
Yeah.
Were you like this when do you have any moments when you were younger that you felt like you knew that all this was inside of you? You just didn't really connect all the dots yet?
I was the leader on every team.
Okay.
So I was always the motivator. I was the yeller. I led all the chants. I was the one that had them. What the fuck are we doing? Get up, bro. You got to do this. Ayrton, you run. What we doing? We don't work hard for this. I was always that dude. So I was always wanted to be the talker, leader in front of people. And under passion, that's what happens. I start to be like, okay, I'm going to start talking. Once we get under pressure, like if shit starts shaking, I might have people in my circle who neglect themselves for a little bit, and I'll give you a little nudge on the back, or I'll give you a little, all right, go ahead next time. But if you keep dropping the ball, figuratively, metaphorically, if you keep dropping the ball, eventually I'm like, listen, there's a point where you about to go where there's a point of no return. And I think understanding the compassion for myself and my story subconsciously, because all of them damn mess ups, and my compassion for my mom, anxiety, depression, bulimic, suicidal, allows me to have that compassion for others. So, but only for so long, because it doesn't always last. Being creative, being a leader, standing out. I never got the Jordans. I'd wear goofy shit to school because I had the pretty privilege and I was jacked. So I would wear long johns only with some duct tape shoes or some goofy shit, or I wear silk boxes under some. I was wearing some goofy shit, but that was more for attention. Yeah, I mean, my whole life people you're a leader. I didn't like it. You're a class clown. I kind of like that label. I like the class clown.
I was always a class clown too. I was sitting outside all the time, missing the lesson, but I was I made everybody laugh.
Yeah, I'm about the people. Fuck this school.
Exactly.
For real. And that's even part of it right here. I was hard-headed, but now I'm still hard-headed on my mission. So the hard-headed, I just didn't know what my focus, it was football.
Redirect it.
We redirected, right? Redirect the discipline of football, the team component, the connection, all the stuff that a lot of times they label us as kids is our trait that we really should be embracing. If you stand out in your school, that is what you should do for the rest of your life. As long as it ain't shooting it up or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Or selling drugs. But you can still be a businessman, but you're coming from selling drugs. That's what 50 Cent and Young Jeezy talk about in their books. I learned all my business from the streets, and then I brought it into the real world, So it's all about that reflection component, for real.
Definitely speaking to me. Well, I appreciate your time. Is there anything that we didn't go over today that is on your mind? We got the Costa Rica retreat. We got the book. What else?
We got the podcast, Choose Your Soul Show. Love to have you come on there as well.
Would love to.
Got the gut repair solution to help you flush out the toxins in your gut. So
I need to do that. I saw something with your nice abs out talking about this gut. I'm sold.
Yeah, the gut and the mind was combined when we developed in the womb till it was separated by your spine. And it's not just what you eat, what you drink, what you smoke. It's what you're watching, what you're listening to, who you follow, when you scroll, who you poke, who you stroke. It's how your crib smell. Does it smell like anchovies and artichokes?
Such a big one.
you're gonna filter your joint and filter your coffee and filter your water, but you won't filter your feed. You're feeding your mind all kinds of stuff and it's messing up your gut. And now you got lack of serotonin in the morning. And now your knees hurting and you're moaning. Got your dang knees talking in Morse code, clicking and popping. Come on now. It starts with the gut. The collagen, the inflammation, that's the gut. The mental health, gut. There's a vagus nerve that connects us. So what you eat, what you consume, it tells you what to think. And then if you don't have the capacity to separate your emotions or your actions from your emotions and your thoughts, then you're thinking off of uncertainty and you're just moving through life and drifting. But yeah, the book, the podcast, man, the retreat, I got some merch available as well, one-on-one coaching. But if you like all this stuff, man, I got the CYC community. We meet every week, every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Got a free trial right now. So tap into the CYC from NYC, but it's virtual.
CYC, NYC, my favorite city, New York City.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, I'm gonna see you July.
I'll see you soon.
All right, cool.
All right. Well, thank you so much.